Hips are really important when it comes to drawing the human figure. They could easily be the main focus of your drawings a lot of the time. With that said, they are pretty difficult to draw. In this video, I'll be teaching you some stuff to make them easier to draw. It'll mainly be about female hips, but some of the stuff that I've mentioned would apply to male bodies as well. One disclaimer before I get to the video. Real people doesn't look like what I'm going to be teaching. I don't want, need, or expect anybody to look like this either. Gonna start by drawing a hip in my style from a couple different angles. When we look at the front, we have the obliques or the waist, and then this solid area, and then the legs start. On the back, again we have obliques, and near this part of the pelvis that looks like a V shape, and then obviously the glutes. Also, at a side view, we can say that the glutes go halfway into the side plane of the hips. So when we look here, this is the solid area. At the halfway, the butt starts, and then we also have the legs. If the character you're drawing is skinny, you can portray the edges of the pelvis on the outside like this, especially if the hips are tilted. I actually use this to have some sort of difference between my female and feminine male designs, where on the male one the bones are a bit more prominent. It's not a realistic difference though. The legs. I'll be talking more about them on their own video, so here it's just gonna be about their connection to the hips. The muscle anatomy looks as if they start all the way at the end of the obliques. But functionally and visually they start a bit before the end of the hips. So this whole area is just solid and doesn't move. When they bend, they start to raise to roughly half the hip's length. Again, the hips doesn't move. Now, the most complicated part of this whole thing, the butt or glutes. The shape of the muscles alone are this sort of butterfly shape. With fat, they get this more softer shape, and they also start to fold. It's really simple when we're looking at them head-on with no perspective or movement. When in extreme angles, we should think about how this is a soft object that's in contact with legs, which are relatively harder. So they're gonna curve around the cylindrical surface of the legs. They are attached to the legs, so when the legs move in the opposite direction of them, they will stretch. When deciding where they're going to start on below facing angles, look at this line on the rectangle I'm using as a guideline. Also notice how the inner side of the glutes originates roughly around the midway of this area. I haven't talked about this area, but I'll get to that. Notice how in this pose and angle where the legs are bent, the glutes kinda stretch around this area. These two things I've mentioned may be difficult to understand since I haven't shown a recipe yet, but we're getting there. Before we get to the recipe, I wanna talk about landmarks. These are just areas on the body, usually at the same place as bones. They themselves aren't really that important, it's just that they give us information about things that are connected to them or located around them. Trust me, you'll understand better with some examples, hopefully. The ones that are useful for us to draw hips are the outline of the pelvis, this part of the pelvis, and this area. The outline of the pelvis. It's pretty straightforward. It will be determining the edges of our recipe. The shape at the back, again, it's pretty straightforward. You can also see the outline of the pelvis from the back as well. And this area. I will be referring to it as this area. I think it's called the pubic region or something, but that sounds funny. So I'm just gonna call it this area anyways. Notice how it connects to two different planes at the same time. As I've said, they give us information about what's located around them. For example, for this area, we basically know that it's gonna be the only part at the bottom plane of the hips that aren't covered by the legs or the butt. I also mentioned it twice at the butt section as well. Now I hope those make more sense. Now, finally, about my recipe. The base of it is this shape, a slightly tapering rectangle. You don't have to make it taper, I just prefer it that way. You can also change its size or proportions for different body types or gender expressions. The important part of it is the edges and planes of it. Those need to be there. Then I add the landmarks to this base shape, depending on the position. Then I add the legs and the butt with the help of landmarks. Now that we have a recipe, I'm gonna draw some more examples. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope this was helpful. Part 2, where I go over more examples, may or may not be out by the time you're watching this. So check that one out as well if it is out. Thank you for watching till then. Have a nice day.